Welcome to this presentation on Carlo Cipolla's laws applied to the four-way test. My name is Andrea de Giorgio, and I gave this presentation in quality of President of the Rotary Club of Stockholm International. So, who the heck is Carlo Cipolla? Well, he was an Italian economic historian at the University of Pavia in Italy. He was famous for his publications in economic history of Europe, of the pre-industrial Europe, with many citations about those. But the story I want to tell you about today is about another publication. Well, it all started during a Christmas Eve dinner with a few friends. He, as an economic historian, decided to give a gift to all his friends that was rather easy to obtain and finance. And that was what he was used to do, write something. What does he want to write for his friends? Well, he is a funny person, so he thinks, perhaps I can joke about something, and what do all my friends do in their life around me? Well, they're usually stupid. So he thinks, let's put it in a book to call them stupid without calling them stupid directly. Or perhaps guide them through stupidity so that they can learn from it and perhaps be less stupid in the future. Well, he goes with few laws. So he starts with this one, and he says, always and inevitably, everyone underestimates the number of stupid individuals in circulation. Alright, the world is pretty full of stupid people. Some intuition there. And then he goes with a second law. The probability that a certain person is stupid, and there he was thinking about all his friends, is totally independent of any other characteristics of that person. So he couldn't tell which friend would have revealed themselves stupid. It was impossible, but yet stupidity was coming out. And then he formulates this third law that later he calls his golden law. A stupid person is a person who causes losses to another person or to a group of people while deriving no personal gain and even possibly incurring in personal losses. Well, it's a bit hard to understand it, but let's try to see what this implies in a graphical way. So he was a scientist and he had to tie stupidity to some variables. And in terms of economics, you start thinking about profit. So you can have either benefit to yourself or losses to yourself depending on the way you act. And that's a fact. But if we add another axis in this graph, then we can start thinking about benefits to other people around us or otherwise losses to them. And when we have four directions, we get what in math is called four quadrants. And he named. Yes, so you can see that we have four different behaviors. When you get benefit to the other people and benefit to yourself, he sees in this a very well-known characteristic that is of intelligent people. Then you have on this diagonal two other quadrants that are halfway between intelligence and stupidity. And basically those are two behaviors that have a tendency to give more to the others, as in the givers, but less to themselves, or to give a lot to themselves, but less to the others. In that case, you have some bandits stealing resources from other people. And then there is a particular category down here that is basically giving losses to yourself and losses to other people. And how would you describe and explain this kind of behavior? Well, Carlo Cipolla had his best intuition there. He said, that's stupidity. Let's say something nice. I make this presentation for Rotary, and Rotarians, my audience, should know that this line that I'm drawing here has a purpose. Well, I'd like to call it the line of self, because it's the line, the axis that shows the benefit or losses to ourselves. And if you take this as a definition and look at the two quadrants over the line, above the line, see what happens. Well, we could call this service above self, and this is one of the most famous mottos of Rotary. Service above the self line. So basically you're serving, giving benefit to others, and that is what the upper quadrant is about, in two different ways. Either you're an intelligent person, so you have a little bit of benefit for yourself as well, or you're just a giver. You give benefit to others, but eventually you incur in losses to yourself. Okay? It can be on the center line. I mean, you don't get any benefits or particular losses, but still you're giving benefit to the others. Then you're on the border. If this happens, then there is another thing we can point out. Well, this will become service under self. And what does that mean for Rotary? Well, that means that basically people give losses to other people while acting. And they could act for benefit to themselves. That means that they're stealing from other people. Or, well, they could act having even losses to themselves. You know, when you just do something that is not even selfish, is just, well, stupid. You don't think, you do it, you procure losses to yourself because perhaps you renounce to something by doing that action, but you also create a damage to other people. And often people don't realize that because they do it without thinking. That's why stupidity is so common. It's not a wanted characteristic. Nobody wants to be stupid, and yet they do. Let's go back to this quadrant. Service above self, we think, is a good thing for Rotary. But what about if we restrict this to the intelligent people quadrant? Well, another good thing happens. Now we can call this one profits most who serves best. And this is another of the most famous Rotary mottos. It's two of them. You know them. And this one came from a Rotarian who was actually describing the profits of his company. And he said, it's better for my company to provide good quality services to the customers than just maximizing my own profit. If I give quality products and I give something to my customers, well, I serve best, but I also profit most, it turns out. And Rotary liked so much that speech that basically they adopted the sentence as a motto. Well, any action, it doesn't need to be a company, can be something that gives benefit to others and benefit to themselves. You're an intelligent person. What about the four-way test in the title of this presentation? There we go. The four-way test, every Rotarian should know, I'd say is a bit redundant, but it goes with 4 key sentences. Let's go through them. When you do something, you ask yourself, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Well, of course, if it's the truth, usually it's fair to all concerned, but it's better to, double check. And then you continues. Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Well, of course, if it's fair to everybody, so probably people will be more friendly and goodwill will be there. So it's a check, check, check. But what about the last sentence? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Well, I think this is the most fundamental key sentence in the four-way test. And that is explained exactly by Cipolla's graph. Because if you give benefits to everybody, you're in the intelligent people quadrant. Isn't that cool? Let's see, there's a fourth law. I just left it at the end. And that says that non-stupid people always underestimate the damaging power of stupid individuals. Basically, you're smart and you don't think about stupid people around you. In particular, non-stupid people constantly forget that at all times and places and under any circumstances, to deal and or associate with stupid people infallibly turn out to be a costly mistake. So if you want to lose resources, just associate yourself with stupidity. That's a humanity's problem, and Rotarians have the fundamental key to solve it. Go through the four-way test, think about the Rotary mottos, and everything will be fine. Carlo Cipolla has a fantastic last name. In fact, Cipolla in English means just onion. I hope you remember this presentation and enjoy life as I do. Thank you.